The third step in the web development process is registering a domain name. This step is optional and only needed if you require a uniquely identifiable web address such as google.com. If you do not register a domain name, your site can still be made publicly accessible using your web server's IP address. The IP address will be assigned to you regardless of the type of web hosting solution you decided to use. Both traditional and cloud hosting provider will assign you the IP upon registration of hosting service. A domain name is highly recommended if you plan on marketing your website or building brand awareness. The name is very easy to register and there are many companies offering registration services. These companies are known as registrar. In addition to registrar, we also have registries, which maintain the domain name records that are registered. If you wanted to register, for example, .com, you could request the name through a registrar. The registrar will check also the relevant registry to see if name already exists or if it's available. If example .com is available for registration, your registrar will add it to the .com registry on your behalf. The organization that coordinates registrars and administers the top-level domain registry is known as Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Number. I can also manage the list of approved registrars. The term top-level domain refers to the most common and most sought after the domain name extensions such as .com, .net, org, and several others. For information purposes, .com is an abbreviation for commercial or for profit, .net for network, and org for organization, non-for-profit. Choosing an extension that is relevant to your business model is always a good practice. Note that the registry for SE top-level domains, which stand for country code top-level domains, are administered independently of if I can see, usually include extensions such as .jp or Japan or .us for United States. These domain extensions are managed according to relevant oversight and governance mechanism within the country. When it comes to domain name registration, there are many different registrars we can choose from. A Google search on domain registrar will produce hundreds of results, all offering different incentives to register through their service. It's very important to select the registrar that is reputable and also offer domain name security and administration through an online portal. Remember, the more time you spend building your website's brand, the more valuable it becomes. It's not uncommon for a web-based businesses to become successful over a short period of time. Using a registrar that doesn't provide adequate support or secure your domain name can leave it vulnerable to theft or very costly later on. The registrar you choose will primarily hinge on the value you attribute to the domain now and in the future. Like any business, the more time and resource you invest into, the more valuable it becomes. If you plan on marketing large investment in building your website's brand, we are spending a lot of time on it. You want to make sure you use a well-established domain registrar that works with well other known internet brands. A few examples include SafeName.net, cscglobal.com, and MarkMonitor.com. These companies are well known in the industry and used by some of the largest internet-based companies in the world such as Twitter and Facebook. They offer extensive brand protection services include domain monitoring, enforcement, security, and trademarking. Note that these companies are also more expensive, especially if you decide to use their extended brand protection services. If you set up company or registering a domain name for a personal website, you likely do not need anything that's sophisticated or costly. For a small to medium-sized web-based businesses, some of the popular registrars include GoDaddy, HostGator, Bluehost, and Hostinger.com, and many others. Each one of these companies offer a relatively good domain name security and administrative service through their web-based portal. If we were to use statistics as a measure of registered popularity, GoDaddy.com is easily the largest, administrating over 50 million domain names. In this lesson, we will show you how to register and administrate a domain name on the GoDaddy.com website. The concepts explored here are applicable to any register you decide to use. First, we need to check if your desired domain name is available. To do so, take the domain name into the search bar located here on the GoDaddy.com homepage. I am just going to use some sample websites. If your domain name is available, you see this message displayed on the screen. If it's not available, you need to search for any other domain. Certain domain name might be available but at a premium price based on their popularity. For example, if we were to search for webdevelopmentcourse.com, we can see that is available, but the price is much more expensive, around $1,600, and then a renewal cost of $14.99 per year. And this is because it's a premium domain. So be careful when you are registering in. Make sure you check the price to confirm that you are not paying a premium price for your domain. As you can see that this is not a premium domain, so it's available for $9.99 a year. If we scroll down here, you can see also we have the option of registering the same domain name, but with different extension, and there's many different type of extension you can choose from. .com is probably the most popular, but you can also have the .net, .org, and the list goes on. So if you wanted to add those, you could click the select button next to the corresponding name. But for the purpose of this lesson, we are just going to register single domain names. So click the select button, and once you see the check name next to the selected, by clicking and selecting button, we have added this to our shopping cart, and now we are just proceeding to checkout. Before you confirm your order, GoDaddy.com will offer you additional products. First is domain privacy. This is an important feature if you would like your domain ownership records to remain private. Remember that by default, all top-level domain registration details are made available to the public through HSUM. We can confirm this by visiting whois.html. Here we can search a domain to find information about registered owner. Let's go ahead and search google.com. This page contains the who is information for google.com. You can see there is quite a bit of information listed here. We can see the registration, administrative and technical contents for the google.com domain. This includes things like name, organization, mailing address, phone number, and email. We can also see the registrar, and that's the company that registered the domain name on the behalf of google.com. The list registered is a Mark Monitor Inc. We can see the updated, created, and the registration expiration dates as well. We can see information about the name servers that Google uses, and we will talk about those later on. And then we have the raw, who is the record that contains even more detailed information about the domain registrant. If you register a domain name under your own name and address, the information will be made available just like this without using domain privacy. It's generally a good idea to use domain privacy so your personal or business information is not entered into the spam list. To see what your domain information would like with the domain privacy option. Two is the search on the domain name mydevcode.com. This is a simple domain we register for the purpose of this tutorial. You can see that all information is concealed. The registered content, admin content, and technical content is all listed as registered private, and the organization is domain by proxy. The mailing address also points to the proxy that the domain is registered to, including the phone number and email. We can see that registered is a GoDaddy.com. We still have information about the name server and the registration and the update dates, but there is no personal information included in the who is record, so that's the purpose of the domain privacy option. So in this case, we'll select yes. What is the first option? Next, we can specify if you want to add the GoDaddy shared hosting package for your website. Since the focal point of this course will be on the cloud hosting, do not check off any of these options. We will be using a popular cloud hosting provider to host our website. Next, we can add a professional email to our domain name. This name we can get an email such as john@mydomain.com. For example, the email service offered by GoDaddy is fairly expensive for what you get, and there is a webmail application is also quite slow and non-user friendly. We'll be using a service called Gmail for work to create a personalized email address for our domain name later in this course. Google product is much better and offer many more features, and especially if you are accustomed to Gmail, then it offers an additional advantages as well. Once you have completed this page, click the continue to cart button. On this page, a term you would like to register the domain name for. There is minimum term for 1 year, and the more year you register for, the higher the discount, but typically you just do 1 or 2 years, and then if you decide to keep it after that, you will register the name or renew the name. So once you have selected your term, click the proceed to check out the button and make sure that make my domain private is checked off, and if you want domain privacy, also choose your currency. Then proceed to checkout. If you are a new customer, click the continue button in the new customer under the new customer heading. Now enter your billing information. In this section here, under the account information, enter your email address and also the username and password you would like to use to log into the system. In order to proceed, any technical support requires. The PIN number is used when you call the technical support phone number. They will ask for your PIN number, and then enter your payment information if you are using credit card or PayPal, and then just click the continue button when you are ready to proceed. Once you do that, you will be logged into your PayPal account if that's what you are using, and once your payment is confirmed, you will receive an email confirmation. The domain name is normally ready within a few minutes, and you will also receive an email that requires you to activate your account by clicking a link. Once you receive your one, you have activated your account. In the next lesson, we'll log in and check out the administrative option. By now, you have probably received your confirmation email and activated your account with GoDaddy.com. To administer your domain name, visit the GoDaddy.com website and click the sign in button. So enter your username and password and click sign in again. When you are logged into your account, you will see a few links. The first is domain expand the domains menu. Here you can see the domain you currently have with GoDaddy.com. You can also see when the domain name expires and if the registration type is public or private. Under the action heading, you will see two buttons. Click the Manage DNS button. On this page, we can perform any administrative action relating to your domain name. Under the domain details section, we can see our domain name, mywebdevcourse.com. We can see the status of the domain, the date it was created and when it expired. We can also manually renew the domain by clicking the Renew button. To delete the domain, we can press the Delete button. Under the Setting tab, the first option is Auto Renew. It's a good idea to keep the Auto Renew option enabled. If you forget to renew your domain before its expiration date, the domain is automatically placed back in the market for resale. Auto Renew will automatically renew your domain and charge the amount to the payment method you have on file. Click the Manage button to turn Auto Renew on or off and see the expiration date for this domain is February 4, 2017. Here we can switch Auto Renew and on and off. The domain lock is any other important option. This feature protects your domain from being stolen by a third party. To transfer a domain name to a third party or to a different registrar, you are required to have an authorization code provided by your current registrar. Your new registrar will request this code to complete the transfer. This is a safety precaution to make sure that your domain is secure at all the times. Sometimes this authorization code can end up in the wrong hands by turning on the lock option. A domain transfer cannot be completed. In the event that you do want to transfer your domain to any other registrar, click the email my code link next to the authorization code label. The code will be emailed to the email address on the file and then you can use it to transfer your domain at a new your registrar. If you just recently registered the domain, GoDaddy will not let you transfer the domain out until the date specified. In this case, it's April 5, 2016. Approximately 16 days after initial registration, to turn the domain log off, click the Manage button and you can check the off button and click Save, but it's always a good idea to keep it on. You can forward your domain to any other website using the domain forwarding option. Forwarding allows you to redirect one domain to any other. To do so, click Manage under the domain heading. Click Add Forwarding. You can specify the domain name to forward to. So for example, if I wanted to forward my webdevcourse.com google.com, I simply type in google.com here. Then we need to specify the redirect type, whether it is permanent or temporary. And this is mainly to let search engine know whether your domain will always redirect to a new page or only for a certain length of time. Make sure to check off this option to update your name server and domain name settings. We will talk about name server later in this section. So once you have configured these options, you would click the add button and your forwarding would be set up. In addition to domain, we can also forward subdomain. A subdomain lets you put contents in your URL before your domain name. So for example, sport.mywebdevcourse.com or blog.mydevcourse.com, those would be the two examples of subdomains. To forward a subdomain, click the Manage button, click Add Subdomain Forwarding. Now specify the subdomain to forward and select Forward and UR. So for example, blog mywebdevcourse.com and I can forward that to whichever website I want to forward it to. Again, select the redirect type, whether it's permanent or temporary, or once complete, click the Add button. Name server, also known as NSA record, specify which server your domain name should resort to. For example, if you are hosting your website with GoDaddy.com, you would use the default name server provided, and that's 53.domaincontrol.com and 55.domaincontrol.com. Since we are going to be hosting our website elsewhere, we'll update the name server later on in this course. Once your domain name has resolved to the correct web server based on the NSA record, the DNS zone file administered by your hosting company provides a set of records that indicate some important information. This includes the primary name server or NSA record, the IP address of the web server or the record, and the mail delivery destination for the domain and subdomain. Since we are not using GoDaddy is our web hosting company, we will work with the configuring our zone file later in this course. To make changes to the contact information pertaining to your domain, click on the Contacts tab. Here you will get the listing of the registered administrative, technical and billing contacts. If you have enabled domain privacy, all your contact information will be hidden behind the domain proxy. You can see that it states registration private for all the details. To remove domain privacy, click the Manage button. Under the Privacy heading on the following page, scroll down to the Contact Information heading and under that click Remove Privacy. You will need to confirm that you want to remove it. Once you have removed your privacy, you will be able to see all your personal contact details for the registration, administrative, technical, and billing contacts.